108 days of war, a possible end to the Iran conflict now is in sight, with the US and Iran having agreed upon a framework for a peace deal, with the signing expected to happen on Friday in Switzerland. But as diplomats know, nothing is final until it is signed on paper. And there are five crucial ways ahead. Now, ahead of this, there is also Israel jointly, which had with the United States launched the strikes on Iran on the 28th of February. And officially, details of the agreement, however, still remain limited. But President Trump has announced an end to the American blockade of the Iranian ports, claiming that the Strait of Hormuz will be reopened after the deal is signed. Iran, however, says that the tentative agreement would end fighting from all fronts, including in Lebanon. Meanwhile, let's tell you exactly when it comes to the contrasting statements coming in from the President Trump and the U.S. Naval Force Central Command regarding the U.S. blockade. Now, what is being said as far as if the oil is allowed to flow, but President Trump has now been saying that Iran has agreed never to have a nuclear weapon. This is now coming across again from President Trump and from his administration as well. However, this is something which Iran on the other side have not been agreeing completely on the lines of what President Trump's statement has been. Not just the President, Vice President J.D. Vance has also been saying that President Trump has been clear from the start that Iran can never have a nuclear weapon, saying that President Trump's efforts to establish peace have paid off for the American people despite countless attempts to thwart it by those who hate America and President Trump. This is now coming in from Vice President J.D. Vance, as he is expected to be the one who has been leading with the negotiations as well. But however, when it comes to signing of the deal is now concerned, that is expected to happen in Geneva in Switzerland. However, when it comes to the Iranian side, they are of the opinion that mistrust still continues on part of President Trump and the statements that he has been given. In the meantime, let's also get you exactly what President Trump has been saying all along, because as far as Donald Trump is concerned, the biggest sticking point on Iran's nuclear stockpile, as President Trump refers to as nuclear dust, Iran on its side has till now not committed to a clear plan when it comes to transferring or destroying its enriched uranium. Its stockpile that is estimated to be over 10,000 kgs, including critical 440 kilograms of enriched above 60% purity. But the demand coming in from the United States is clear: an irreversible dismantlement of Iran's nuclear capability, and also this remains as one of the toughest hurdles to finalize the deal. But what is being said exactly when it comes to the country which is not party to this peace deal, however, saying that Israel is turning out to be the biggest thorn for the United States in this peace deal, as Prime Minister of Israel is also saying that under no circumstances Iran will be allowed to obtain a nuclear weapon. Let's, in the meantime, continue talking about what J.D. Vance has to say. The Vice President has been saying that President Trump is a master negotiator. And let's connect with Ratnadeep Chakraborty joining us live from Tel Aviv. Thank you very much, Ratnadeep, for joining us. We've been talking about what Prime Minister Netanyahu has been of the opinion. Clearly, there seems to be certain differences that have arisen according to reports that have happened in the latest conversations between President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu. But what is Israel's point of view here?
That's true. And we have seen ever since President Trump has announced of this memorandum of understanding between Iran and the United States, there has been a lot of reports and, in fact, a lot of the ministers inside the cabinet of Prime Minister Netanyahu who have opposed the deal, have said it is not a good deal. And even Prime Minister Netanyahu today has made it clear that for Israel, the core objective remains the same and unchanged, and it will be that Iran will not be able to obtain nuclear weapons with or without an agreement. And he has described confronting Iran's nuclear program as the mission of his own political life, and argued that an Israeli military pressure significantly has weakened Iran's capabilities even before diplomacy began, and this will continue to do so. And this is Israel's primary objective.
And this is something which is coming from Prime Minister Netanyahu, Ratnadeep, that till the time that he is the Prime Minister, Iran will never be allowed to obtain a nuclear weapon. But on the other side, what about the attacks on Lebanon? Because that has continued despite President Trump not wanting Iran to go ahead with those strikes.
Well, on Lebanon, his position is very clear that Israel does not see itself bound by any diplomatic arrangement that compromises Israel's security, and Israeli forces remain operating inside the South Lebanon, as we have seen a few hours before. There was a message from the IDF that said that Hezbollah continues to fire towards this, the areas in South Lebanon where IDF operates. And his exact message was that Israel has established security zones in Gaza, Lebanon, and Syria, and will continue operating there as long as it's required to protect the country. And it's not bounded by any deals signed between the United States and Iran.
Right, because Israel this time is not party to this MOU, but this is something which Prime Minister Netanyahu is of the view that they have established deep security zones around the state of Israel, and especially when it comes to in Gaza and Syria and now in Lebanon. And he says, making it clear that they will remain in these security zones for as long as necessary to protect the state of Israel. Ratnadeep, I request you to stay on with